Hi and welcome to Moto Headlines. We have to talk about the new Triumph. For a brand new bike to lead its first ever GP and to put its rider on the podium is a major achievement. Even established brands like Honda, Yamaha, KTM and the like with years of MXGP success often don't get it right first time. Despite years of data and a test team ironing out as many of the niggling or sometimes major issues before the GP start, the intensity and speed of real World Championship racing can expose many flaws that need sorting. So for Triumph to do it at the first MX2 GP of the year in Argentina is a major achievement that shouldn't be overlooked. It was thanks to the rider, 22-year-old Danish rider Mikael Harp, who took a convincing third overall at the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. He followed up a first Moto fifth with a close runner-up finish in race 2 after leading for 5 laps. He was always in the pack battling for the lead, and his second place secured his and Triumph's first overall podium results in the MX2 World Championship at the first time of asking. And his teammate, 21-year-old South African Camden McClelland, had some strong starts and secured 9th overall with his day, which was highlighted by a 6th in race 2. Now that's a great result for an EMX 250 rider making the move up and a testament to the bike and the team. Now it's not like Triumph had hired Harrop as the obvious standout star of the class, such as if the British manufacturer had lured current world champion Andrea Adamo away from KTM, or even back in the day, stealing Jorge Prado or Jeffrey Hurlings in their prime of their MX2 career, for example. Harrop's history is that he had a runner-up spot in the GP of Portugal in 2022 on a Kawasaki and Latvia in 2018 when he was on a Husky. But this Argentinian ride equalled his third place overalls in Belgium in 2019 and Matterley in 2020, and a great year in 2022 when he was on the podium in third place at Teussenthal in Germany, a hard track, Trentino in Italy, a hilly, kind of rubbly track, and the Argentina track that he obviously suits. It was a good year and he took 7th overall in the world, but last year was a write-off. He left the Dixon Kawasaki team after just one round, joined the privateer WZ KTM squad, and then injured his arm at the Indonesian GP in June and hadn't raced a GP since then. But after months of testing, Harrop came good at the bike's first European race, a medium-sized Spanish international at Talavera. He topped qualifying and took 2 runner-up spots behind factory Husky rider Lucas Koenen. Although, to be fair, the depth of talent in that class was reasonably shallow. Now at the next race, another pre-season international in France, Harrop took 3rd overall with 2 third places, an event won by Thibaut Benistant from Leon Everts. These are 2 of the men expected to be threats for the World Championship, so perhaps his performance in Argentina was on the cards. But don't underestimate just how punishing and fast that track is, and how the elevation robs horsepower. That's crucial in the 250 class, especially when you're battling against full factory bikes armed with lots of track setup data. The Triumph was fast and obviously proved to be reliable, and maybe best of all, it was stable on a track that has soft surfaces, masking a hard base. There's lots of kicker bumps and hidden holes that always catch lots of riders out. Even 5-time world champ Jeffrey Hurling said he was glad to get out of there unhurt, as the track was sketchy. He said it's great to look at, but risky to ride. That's where you need a bike that is stable and predictable with a great balance. And it's exactly what Triumph has been focusing on with its unique chassis that is very different to anything else on the market. Let's take a look at what Ricky Carmichael said about it.
For me, I like how it's balanced.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the pitch goes from forward to rear is bad. I like how you don't have to run a whole lot of sag. I like how you can run it very balanced in like a neutral position. I like the aesthetics of the bike. I think it's a sexy looking motorcycle. I really do.
It looks factory, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's got that.
It does. I love the KYB suspension. I think the window to get the settings right is much bigger, and the suspension is more forgiving. It has a wider range,
Yeah.
A very comfortable feel, and I love the over rev on the engine. I think that's great. I think that's important for the 250 stuff.
Yeah.
You could say the bike's even more high-profile debut was in the East Coast Supercross in Detroit, where Jalek Swall and Evan Ferry gave the bike its USA debut. Well, race debut that is, after RC and Jeff Stanton did some laps on the TF250X at the LA Coliseum at the end of last year. But to succeed at Supercross racing is a very different thing in terms of bikes. The machine has to be able to turn quickly and hold the line, give instant snap on the faces of jumps, be stable in the whoops, and of course, be reliable. Now with Ferry a total Supercross rookie, it was Swall who was always going to be the team leader. But both made it through to the main event. That was despite Swall being torpedoed off the track in his qualifier, then having to come from the back to take 6th. Now in the main, disaster struck in the first corner with one of the biggest pile-ups ever, and both riders went down. Ferry was out, but Swall got back on and came through to an impressive 6th, much to the delight of the workers at the factory in Hinckley, who went into work to watch the historic moment. At the next round in Texas, Ferry was a non-starter as he'd hurt his shoulder, and Swall took 5th in his qualifier, then went down hard in the main. But he bounced back at Daytona, and despite still being in pain from his injury, meaning he only rode the bike one day before the event, he took 5th in the qualifier, then 7th in the rain-hit main event. Then came Arlington last weekend, and Swall gated well, held 3rd for much of the main, but then slipped off and took 6th. So he's now 10th in the series, and the world knows that the bike is already super competitive at Supercross and now GP level motocross. Now a lot of that is down to the race teams, run by the experienced Vincent Bereni in GPs and Bobby Hewitt in the USA. They know what they're doing, but of course they need a good bike to start with. There's even been posts online that the bike is just another KTM or a copy of a Honda or a Yamaha frame with a KTM engine in it, and of course it's not. It's a unique Triumph design, although the motor does have similarities to the KTM 250 power plant. Now Triumph has taken 5 years to get this far. In the past few years, while checking out rival manufacturers, Triumph used to buy used KTM race engines from some UK-based race teams to see how much wear they could expect in race conditions. But the bike is all Triumph's own engineering and has had more than 1,000 hours of track testing from a team of 20 test riders, backed by 45 development engineers working on the project. Now, although Ricky Carmichael is the big name rider who's helped in developing the bike, and Jeff Stanton has also been involved, it's been riders like Ivan Tedesco in the USA, as well as Clement Desalle in Europe, that have really developed the machine, as well as British riders slogging through the sand at a well-known track in the north. Also part of the test and development team is Ivan Cervantes. Now he's the Enduro champ, as of course Triumph is also working on a 450 motocross bike and Enduro machines too. And also, interestingly, dual sport bikes, trail bikes, as revealed by Triumph's project leader Ian Kimber a couple of weeks ago.
No secret, we've got a 450 in development. It's going to come later in the year. So we need to be competitive in both classes. We've started with the 250 because it fits with our racing program and how we wanted to develop the strategy for the racing program in building talent with the bike.
Yep.
And making the program grow.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a great program on both series. Some great talent in the riders that we've got, and we're hoping that they'll develop as we develop the program of the bike. We wouldn't have the likes of Ivan Cervantes on board if we weren't going to go into the enduro market. It's a massively popular market, especially in Europe, obviously, and then in America, off-road and dual sport is a big scene as well. GNCC races, etc. So it's an obvious market for us to expand into in the future.
The new TF250X is a bike that has to work perfectly for typical customers, and our recent tests show this is certainly the case. It's also priced competitively at a similar cost as a rival KTM or Husky. That's because Triumph uses well-proven production engineering techniques at its factory in Thailand. It also has to work as a Supercross bike and a GP-level MX2 race bike, and it certainly looks like that's not a problem either. This is the start of something very big for Britain, and it's big for the sport. Welcome, Triumph, to the great world of motocross racing.